You open your laptop. 5 tabs, 10 ideas, 0 progress. One tab is a job application you swore you'd finish 3 weeks ago. Another is a wiki hole about medieval torture devices. You don't remember opening it. There's a playlist you made at 2 a.m. called Songs That Feel Like Guilt, a calendar notification from yesterday, and buried in the corner, a Notes app document titled Things I Will Finally Fix. You don't open that one. Instead, you stare at the blinking cursor. Your chest feels tight. Not anxious, exactly, just caged. Like your attention is a dog tied to a fence, barking at everything, going nowhere. Someone once asked you, "Do you have trouble focusing?" And you said no, because that wasn't the right question. You don't have trouble focusing. You have trouble choosing what to focus on. There's a difference. One is a weak muscle. The other is a radio that picks up 17 stations at once, all at full volume, and someone keeps changing the dial. You're 32 or 26 or 19, doesn't matter. You just found out you have ADHD, and now every single confusing, shameful, exhausting moment of your life is replaying in high definition.
The moment you realize something is off, let's go back, not to the diagnosis, to before. You're in 3rd grade. The teacher says, take out your homework. You rummage through your backpack. It's a disaster zone. Crumpled drawings, a missing glove, a granola bar that melted 6 weeks ago. No homework. You did it. You remember doing it. You remember the feeling of the pencil in your hand, the satisfaction of the last answer. But where is it? Did you turn it in? The teacher asks. You don't know. You genuinely don't know. She sighs. You learn to read sighs before you learn long division. Later, your parents say, you're so smart. You just need to apply yourself. You flinch at the word just for the rest of your life. Fast forward, high school. You're in a silent classroom trying to read a paragraph. You read the same sentence 7 times. The words are English, but they aren't landing. They're like water hitting a tilted pan. Meanwhile, your brain is designing a better mousetrap, replaying an argument from 3 days ago, and humming a jingle from a commercial you hate. The test comes back, 68%. The teacher writes, does not work to potential. Potential. You start to hate that word, because potential isn't a gift, it's a debt, and everyone expects you to pay it back.
The breaking point. The midnight engine. Here's what no one tells you. ADHD isn't a deficit of attention. It's a broken gearbox between intention and action. You want to clean the kitchen. You really do. You stand in the doorway. Your brain sees the dirty pan, the crumbs, the sponge, the trash can, the sink, the thing you forgot to put in the fridge. It's not one task. It's 17 tasks happening simultaneously. So you sit on the couch for an hour, not relaxing, frozen. Someone walks in and says, just start. You want to throw a plate because starting requires a lever you don't have. It's not laziness. Laziness feels good. This feels like drowning in slow motion. But then it's 11:47 p.m. You haven't moved all day. Suddenly, your brain roars to life. Not gradually, like someone flipped a switch labeled, do everything now. You clean the kitchen in 20 minutes. You start a painting. You write 3 pages of something that feels important. You reorganize your bookshelf by color, then by height, then by vibes. You feel invincible, and you tell yourself, this is who I really am. The rest of the day was just a malfunction. That's the trap, because tomorrow you'll wake up, the engine will be cold, the milk will spoil again, and you'll stare at the same kitchen, wondering why the person at midnight couldn't just stay. The social mask. Let's talk about other people. You're at dinner with friends. Someone tells a story. You want to listen. You really do. But 3 seconds in, your brain notices the flickering candle, the song playing in the kitchen, the texture of the napkin, a memory from 2014, and the sudden urgent need to Google whether penguins have knees. You zone back in. They're looking at you. What do you think? You panic. You say, yeah, totally. They laugh. You laugh too. You have no idea what you agreed to. Later, you're called spacey, scatterbrained, a lot. You learn to nod, to pretend you were listening, to build a whole personality around being the chaotic one, so people don't realize you're trying so hard it's breaking you. At work, you miss an email, a simple one, reply by Friday. You saw it. You even remember thinking, I'll reply in 5 minutes. 5 minutes becomes 5 hours.
5 hours becomes Friday night. The email is still in your drafts. You send it at 11:58 p.m. with a typo. Your manager pulls you aside. You have so much potential. We just need consistency. There's that word again. You smile, apologize, go home. Sit in your car for 20 minutes, not crying, just empty, because you tried. You tried so hard, and trying doesn't show up on a performance review.
The upside, the bonfire brain. But here's the part people leave out. When your brain works, it works. Not like a machine, like a bonfire. You get obsessed, not casually, completely. You learn guitar for 16 hours straight. You build a website in one night. You read a book about mushrooms, and suddenly you're identifying fungi on a hiking trail like some kind of forest detective. Your creativity doesn't walk. It sprints, trips, laughs, and keeps running. You make connections other people miss. A conversation about traffic turns into a theory about human migration. A broken coffee maker becomes a poem. You feel things deeply. Music cuts you open. A stranger's sadness stays with you for days. At midnight, when the world is quiet, your brain is a fireworks show. And you think this is beautiful. But beauty doesn't pay rent, and passion doesn't apologize for being late. So you learn to hide the bonfire. You become smaller. You say things like, "I'm just lazy," before anyone else can. You apologize for being excited. You call your hyperfocus too much. You didn't know it was ADHD. You thought it was a character flaw. The accountability ghost. Let's talk about the voice that never leaves. Not your own, the imagined one. You're lying in bed at 2 p.m. You've been awake for 3 hours. You haven't moved. Your phone is on your chest. The curtains are half closed. You're scrolling something that doesn't even make you happy. Old vacation photos, a stranger's argument, a recipe you'll never cook. And then you feel it. The phantom version of someone you disappointed walking through your bedroom wall. Not a real person. Worse, a collage. Your third grade teacher's sigh. Your mother's, "I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed." Your ex's, "You never follow through." Your own voice from 3 years ago saying, "I'm going to change." They don't speak. They just stand there, watching. You tell yourself, "Get up. Just get up. Shower. Eat one thing. Reply to that text from your friend from 8 days ago." Your body doesn't move. It's not paralysis. It's something uglier. It's shame inertia. The more time passes, the harder it is to start. And the harder it is to start, the more shame you collect. And the more shame you collect, the more you need to escape. So you scroll, or sleep, or stare at the ceiling, calculating how many hours of your life you've wasted. You start keeping a list of people you've ghosted. Not romantically, existentially. The friend who texted, thinking of you, and you never replied. The mentor who wrote you a letter of recommendation you never thanked properly. The group chat you left without saying goodbye because the notifications felt like an electric fence. You tell yourself you'll reach out tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes next month. Next month becomes, they probably hate me now, so why bother? The ghost gets heavier. Here's the secret no one told you. Most of those people don't hate you. They're confused, maybe hurt, but they're not assembling a case against you. You're the only one doing that. You've built a courtroom inside your skull. You are the judge, the jury, the defendant, and the crying witness. And you've never once let yourself off the hook. The emotional shotgun. Now, let's talk about feelings, because ADHD isn't just about attention, it's about volume. Someone says something small, a criticism at work, a friend's offhand joke, a passive-aggressive email with too many periods. Your brain doesn't process it, it detonates. 1 second you're fine, the next you're crying in a supply closet, or rage cleaning the bathroom at midnight, or spiraling for 3 hours because a cashier was short with you and you've decided it means you're fundamentally unlikable. You have no buffer, no dial, just an on-off switch labeled fine and everything is on fire. People call you dramatic, sensitive, too much. You learn to swallow your reactions, to go silent when you want to scream, to nod when you want to throw your coffee at the wall. You become very good at being fine. So good that no one believes you when you finally say, "I'm not okay." Here's an exact moment. You're at a family dinner. Your uncle says, "You were always the dreamer. When are you going to get a real job?" Everyone laughs. You laugh too. You even make a self-deprecating joke about your latest failed side project. You're smiling. Your fork is cutting a vegetable. Under the table, your other hand is shaking. You excuse yourself to the bathroom, lock the door, sit on the edge of the tub, and you feel everything at once. Rage, grief, shame,
and a weird, quiet loneliness that has lived in your chest since you were 8 years old. You don't cry. You've forgotten how. You just sit. Then you wash your hands, fix your face, go back out. Eat the potato salad. No one notices. That's the quiet devastation of emotional dysregulation. Not the explosion, the cleanup. The way you learn to perform calm while your nervous system is sizzling like a downed power line. And you thought everyone felt this way. You thought everyone was just better at hiding it. They aren't. Their dials go from 1 to 10. Yours goes from 0 to 100. There is no 40, there is no 60, there is nothing and too much. And you have spent your whole life being told that too much is a choice. It isn't. The time blindness maze. Try this. Someone says, "How long will that take?" You pause. You genuinely try to estimate. And you realize you have no idea. Not a little unsure. Completely, irrationally, profoundly clueless. A shower might take 7 minutes or 4. You cannot tell the difference. Writing an email could be 90 seconds or an hour and a half because you'll rewrite it 11 times, then get distracted by a Wikipedia article about deep-sea anglerfish, then remember you forgot to call the dentist, then cry for 15 minutes because the dentist reminds you of the ghost chapter. You are time blind. Not forgetful. Blind. Like trying to navigate a room in the dark. You know the furniture exists. You just can't see where. So you develop survival strategies. You set alarms for everything. 12 alarms. Wake up. Get in shower. Get out of shower. Leave for work. Leave for work for real this time. You label them aggressively. You still ignore 3 of them because your brain says, I'll just finish this one thing. You never finish the one thing. You also develop the opposite. Waiting mode. You have an appointment at 3 p.m. It's 9 a.m. You cannot do anything else. Not because you're lazy, because your brain knows there's a thing later, and the thing requires mental space, and you cannot risk getting absorbed in something and missing the thing. So you sit for 6 hours, scrolling, staring, eating crackers over the sink. You call it lazy, but it's not. It's vigilance. A hypervigilance about time, because you've been burned so many times. You've missed flights, shown up to parties an hour late, forgotten birthdays until 11:59 p.m., promised 5 minutes, and delivered 50. So now you overcorrect. You show up 45 minutes early and sit in your car like a weirdo. You check the clock 17 times in an hour. You deal buffer after buffer after buffer until your whole day is just a series of padded rooms, and you're exhausted, not from doing things, from holding time in your head like a glass of water you've been carrying for 30 years. Your arm is shaking. No one sees the glass. They just see you being flaky again. But here's what you learn after the diagnosis. Time blindness has a name. It has a biology. It lives in your prefrontal cortex, and it's not a moral failure. It's a missing internal stopwatch. You can learn to use external stopwatches, timers you don't hate, visual clocks, body doubles, anchors. But first, you have to stop calling yourself broken for not seeing what neurotypical people see. You are not broken. You are blind in one sense and hyper-aware in 20 others. That's the trade. You're still learning if it's worth it. Most days it is. Barely, but it is. The shift, the diagnosis. The diagnosis doesn't come in a movie moment. It comes on a Tuesday in a plain office. A psychiatrist asks you questions you've never been asked before. Do you feel like you're always waiting for something to start? Do you have 47 unfinished projects? Do you feel shame about things that should be easy? You answer yes, yes, yes. She doesn't sigh. She doesn't say, just try harder. She says, your brain is wired differently. It's not broken. It's just not built for a world designed by neurotypical people. You cry, not sad tears, recognition tears. Every missed assignment, every awkward conversation, every time you called yourself stupid because you lost your keys while holding them, every midnight engine, every potential, every single thing you thought was a moral failure. It wasn't. It was neurological. You go home, you sit on the floor. You don't do anything productive for 3 hours, and for the first time in your life, you don't hate yourself for it. The aftermath. Not fixed, but seen. Here's what changes, and here's what doesn't. You still lose your keys, you still miss emails, you still have days where the kitchen is a war zone, and the cursor blinks at you like a judgmental eye. But now, you have a different voice, not the old one, the one that said, you're lazy, you're broken, you're not trying hard enough. Now, there's a quieter voice. It says, this is a symptom, not a sin. You learn small tricks, not to cure yourself, to accommodate yourself. You put your keys on a hook by the door.
You use timers that aren't punishments. You forgive yourself for the midnight engine. Instead of resenting it, you stop apologizing for being excited. You also learn to grieve, because there's a version of you that didn't have to spend 20 years thinking they were fundamentally wrong. That version got diagnosed at 12, had support, didn't internalize lazy into their bones. You mourn that person, quietly, honestly, and then you keep going.
The new conversation. Now, when someone asks, what's ADHD like? You don't say, I can't focus. You say, imagine you're in a room with 50 televisions, all on different channels, all at the same volume, and someone asks you to watch only one, and then judges you when you can't. They blink. You add, but sometimes, late at night, one of those channels shows something so beautiful, you forget to sleep, and you create something no one else would have thought of. And in that moment, you wouldn't trade your brain for anything. They don't fully understand. That's okay. You're not asking for understanding anymore. You're asking for permission to stop pretending.
Resolution, the note you finally write. You open your Notes app again. The document called Things I Will Finally Fix is still there. You scroll through it. Old promises, old shames. You delete it. Then you write a new one. 3 lines. I have a different operating system. Not a defective one. I'm learning how to use it. You close the laptop. The tabs are still open. 5 tabs, 10 ideas, 0 progress. But for the first time, you don't feel the weight of all that potential pressing down on your chest. You feel it beside you, like a strange, difficult, brilliant roommate. You're not fixed. You're not broken. You're just beginning to tell yourself the truth. And that's more than enough for tonight.
Hi, it's Mods. If you made it this far, congrats. You have a longer attention span than I do. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button if this video hit a little too close to home, or if you just want to support the channel while I forget to upload for 3 months. Either one. And seriously, drop a comment. Let me know what your ADHD experience is like.